Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Galaxy Channel. Tonight we are going to sit with a strange and tender idea. The sort of idea that sounds like it should keep a person awake, and yet, if you let it, will do the opposite. The idea is this: somewhere out there, close enough that you have almost certainly seen it with your own eyes, hanging low and coppery over a rooftop or a field. There is a world that was once alive, or nearly alive, or ready to be alive, and is now still. Mars, a place that had rivers, a place that had rain, or something very much like it, a place that had a sky thick enough to hold warmth, and lakes wide enough to hold light, and a whole slow morning of possibility that lasted 1 billion years and then, without any single moment you could point to, ended. And the paradox we will turn over tonight, the puzzle that is really a comfort in disguise, is that this ending was not a catastrophe in the way we imagine catastrophes. It was not fire. It was not a scream. It was a fading. A world simply forgetting, over unimaginable stretches of time, how to keep its own water. And the question that title asks, why Mars should be a warning to us here, turns out to be gentler than it sounds, because a warning is only a story about time, and time, tonight, is the one thing you have more than enough of. We are going to move through this slowly. There is nothing to solve here, and nothing to finish. We will wonder together about how a planet breathes, and how it loses its breath, and what it means that the same star warms two worlds so differently. We will drift back through the history of how we came to know any of this, the small telescopes and the smaller sketches and the long patient machines we sent across the dark. We will let ourselves be carried, at one point, out over a red plain at dawn, with no need to walk and no need to arrive. And we will end, as we always do, by turning our own smallness over in our hands and finding that it fits there, warm and light, like a stone worn round by a river. If any of this brings you some ease tonight, a like or a subscribe helps the channel reach others who are also lying awake, others in other rooms and other time zones, staring at their own ceilings, hoping for exactly this kind of quiet. That is all. You never have to do anything. It is simply there if you want it. The way a lamp is there in a hallway you may or may not walk down. And none of this is anything you need to hold on to. You do not need to remember a single fact. You do not need to follow the thread all the way to its end. The words will keep going whether or not you keep listening, and that is the whole point of them. To be a low sound in a dark room, a hand on the back of the night. So settle in. Let your shoulders ease down from wherever they have crept up toward your ears. Let the pillow take the full weight of your head, all of it, the way the ground takes the weight of a stone without complaint. Let your jaw loosen. Let your hands lie open. Let the breath find its own slow rhythm without you steering it. Let's begin. Begin with the color, because the color is the first thing anyone ever noticed, long before there were telescopes or spacecraft or the word planet as we use it now. Mars is red. Not a bright red, not the red of a warning light or a ripe fruit, but a low, dusty, patient red, the red of old brick and dried clay and rust on an iron gate left out in the weather for 100 years. And that last comparison is not just a poem, it is the truth of the thing. Mars is red because Mars is rusted. The soil of that entire world is rich in iron, and long ago, when there was free oxygen drifting through its air and water moving across its surface, that iron did exactly what iron always does when it meets water and air. It oxidized. It turned. The whole planet, grain by grain, over ages, took on the color of a thing that has been touched by water and then left to dry. So when you look up on a clear night and find that steady coppery point that does not twinkle the way the stars twinkle, you are not looking at a dead world exactly. You are looking at the stain that water leaves behind. You are looking at rust, which is another word for memory. The planet is remembering its water in the only way a planet can, by wearing the color of where the water used to be. Hold that thought lightly, because it is the thread we will follow all the way through the night, this notion of a world remembering its water. A quiet memory of rivers held under a rust-red calm. We will keep returning to it, the way you return to a warm patch of a cold bed, not because you are trying to, but because it is where comfort is. For now, it is enough to know that the redness overhead is not anger and not blood. It is patience. It is the slow signature of something that was once wet, written across the face of something that is now dry, in a color so soft and so old that the ancients gave it the name of a god of war only because they had no gentler story yet to tell. Consider next how close it all is, because closeness is part of the comfort. We tend to think of the other worlds as impossibly far, and in the human sense they are. But in the sense the universe keeps, Mars is a neighbor. It circles the same fire we circle, one lane further out, a little slower, a little cooler, taking not 1 year but nearly 2 of our years to make its long walk around the sun. It is the next house down a very quiet street. And for a long stretch of time, in the deep past, that house had its lights on. That is the thing that turns in the chest so softly when you first understand it. This was not a barren rock that happened to sit where it sits. This was, for a while, a working world, with weather and seasons and a water cycle turning slowly over its surface, with clouds gathering and clearing, with rivers cutting valleys the way rivers always cut valleys, with standing water pooling in low places and reflecting a pink sky. It had a morning. The morning simply went on for an amount of time so vast that the word morning stops meaning anything, and then it ended, and we arrived a few billion years too late to see the light in the windows, and we have been reading The Empty House ever since, room by room, learning who lived there. And here is the first real wonder of the night, the thing that makes Mars a warning at all, though a warning told in a voice low enough to sleep to. 2 worlds. 1 star. The same warmth pouring out across the same dark, falling on both of them without favor. And yet, one of them is you, lying here, breathing air you never have to think about, held under an ocean of sky that presses down warm and invisible all around you, while the other is dry and thin and open to the cold. The difference between them is not the sun. The sun was fair to both. The difference is a matter of holding. Earth learned to hold its warmth and its water and its air, and Mars, over time, let go. And when you ask why one world kept what the other lost, you are really asking about size, and about warmth from within, and about the difference between a small thing that cools quickly and a large thing that stays warm through the night. You already know this in your body, though you have never called it planetary science. You know that a small cup of tea goes cold long before a full bath does. You know that a child, small and thin, needs more blankets than an adult. You know that the little things give up their heat first. Mars is a little world. That is nearly the whole of it. Mars is a little world, and little worlds get cold. Let us stay with that warmth from within for a moment, because it is one of the tenderest facts about any planet, and almost nobody thinks of it. Beneath your feet, right now, far below the floor and the foundations and the rock, there is heat. The inside of the Earth is hot, hot from the day it formed out of colliding rubble and the pressure of its own gathering, hot from the slow burn of certain heavy elements, decaying grain by grain deep in the rock. And that inner heat is not idle. It stirs the molten metal at the very center of the world. And that stirring, that slow, endless churn of liquid iron turning in the dark, wraps the entire planet in something you cannot see and have never felt, and could not live without. A magnetic field. An invisible cloak thrown around the whole world, reaching far out beyond the air, turning aside the ceaseless wind of particles that streams off the sun. You are inside that cloak tonight. You have always been inside it. It has never once let you feel it working, and it has never once stopped. And Mars, being small, cooled inside. Its churning heart slowed and thickened and grew still, and its invisible cloak thinned and frayed, and over a very long time fell away. And a world without a cloak stands bare in the solar wind. And the wind, patient as everything is patient out there, began to carry the air away, one thin breath at a time, out into the dark, until the sky that had been thick enough to hold warmth and water was too thin to hold either. That is how a planet loses its breath. Not all at once, not in a night. In an amount of time so long that if you named the years the number would mean nothing. The way the distance to a star means nothing until you stop trying to feel it and simply let it be large. Feel, if you can, how unhurried all of this is. Nothing about the fading of Mars happened quickly. There was no moment of loss. There was only a slope so gentle that a creature living through any single year of it would have called that year ordinary, would have seen the same red hills and the same thin morning frost and the same pale sun and thought, this is simply how the world is. The change was slower than weather, slower than seasons, slower than mountains. It was the kind of change that only shows itself when you set two pictures side by side across 1 billion years, and even then it looks less like an ending than like a long exhale. And there is something in that slowness that a person can rest against tonight. The things we fear most, we fear because we imagine them arriving suddenly, out of the dark, in a rush. But the universe rarely rushes. The universe mostly drifts. Worlds do not slam shut. They ease closed over ages so slowly that the closing is indistinguishable from simply being. And you are allowed to trust that slowness. You are allowed to let it be the pace of the night. Let us drift back now through the long history of how we came to know any of this at all, because it is a story told in patience, and patience is a good thing to lie down inside of. For most of the time that humans have looked up, Mars was only that wandering red light, a point among points, moving against the fixed stars in a way that puzzled the old sky watchers and made them invent gods and clockwork to explain it. It had no surface anyone could see, no shape, no landscape, nothing but its color and its slow contrary path. The people who named it for war, for blood, for a red that they read as fury, because they were far away and knew nothing. And the mind, when it knows nothing, reaches for the loudest story it has. It would take thousands of years before anyone learned that the red was rust, and that rust is quieter than blood, and older, and kinder. Then came the first lenses, the first small tubes of curved glass held up to the eye in cold rooms by patient people who stayed awake through the night so that we, one day, could sleep. Through those early telescopes, Mars became, for the first time, a disk, a small trembling circle of light, and on that circle there were markings, faint and shifting, dark patches and pale ones, and a white cap at the top and the bottom that grew and shrank as the little world turned through its seasons. Think of the tenderness of that. Someone, 400 years ago, in the dark, with numb fingers, watched a white cap on a distant world grow smaller as its spring came on, and understood that they were watching a season change on another planet, that the frozen thing up there was melting in a faraway sun. It is one of the first times a human being ever felt the seasons of another world, and it happened in silence, alone at night, exactly the kind of night you are having now. For a long stretch after that, the story wandered into a beautiful mistake, and the mistake is worth resting in, because it shows how much we wanted that world to be alive. Better telescopes showed faint lines crossing the red disk, long straight seeming streaks, and some of the watchers, straining at the very edge of what their eyes and their glass could do, saw in those lines something made. Channels, canals, great works of water carried across a drying world by hands that needed it. A whole civilization husbanding its last rivers, engineering its own survival across a planet running low on water. It was not true. The lines were a trick of tired eyes and imperfect glass, the mind stitching straightness out of scattered dimness the way it stitches faces out of clouds. But look at what the mistake reveals. Even when we were wrong about the details, we were right about the shape of the thing. We looked at Mars and felt, without any proof, that here was a world that had once had water and was losing it. We felt the drying before we could measure it. Something in us recognized, across all that distance, a world remembering its rivers and grieving them and trying to hold on. We were wrong about the canal builders. We were not wrong about the loss. And then, at last, we did the astonishing thing. We stopped only looking, and we started going, not ourselves, not yet, but our machines, our small, brave, patient machines, flung across the dark on long, curving paths that took months and then years, so that they might arrive at that red point and turn it, finally, into a place. The first of them merely flew past, snapping a handful of grainy pictures as they hurtled by, and even those few gray frames were enough to break every old dream, because they showed craters, a cratered, dead-looking face, and for a little while it seemed the empty house was emptier than anyone had feared. But we kept going. We sent machines that slowed and circled, that fell into orbit and stayed, mapping the whole globe from above, month after month, patient as monks. And they found, written across the surface in shapes no eye could mistake, the unmistakable handwriting of water. Valleys branching like the veins of a leaf, exactly the way rivers branch when rain gathers and runs downhill. Great channels scoured wide and deep, the kind of channels that only enormous floods can carve. Deltas fanned out at the mouths of old valleys, where a river once slowed and spread and dropped its cargo of silt into a standing lake. Layers of sediment stacked in long, patient beds, the kind that only settle out slowly under still water, season after season, year after year. The empty house, read closely, was full of the marks of water. It was a house near a river that had gone dry, and every room still remembered the flood. And then, tenderest of all, we set things down. We lowered machines to the actual ground, through the thin air, on parachutes and rockets, and once, on a sky crane that hovered and lowered its cargo, on cords like a parent lowering a sleeping child into a crib. And they landed, and they woke, and they looked around. And for the first time in the history of our kind, there were pictures from the surface of another world, taken standing on its soil, showing a horizon and a sky and stones scattered across a red plain, ordinary stones, the kind you might pass on any dry riverbed here at home. Some of those stones were rounded. Rounded the way stones are only ever rounded by water, tumbled and smoothed over long distances by a current that carried them and turned them and wore their edges away. A little machine, alone on a dead world, rolled up to a scatter of pebbles and found them rounded by an ancient stream and sent the picture home across the dark. And somewhere here, a room full of people understood at once, without a word, that they were looking at the bed of a river that had run dry 3 billion years before any of them was born. There had been water here. Not maybe, not in theory. Here, on this ground, water had flowed, had rounded these very stones, had murmured across this plain under a sky we would not recognize, and then had gone, and the stones had waited, rounded and patient, for someone to come and notice that they had once been held by a river. Rest in that for a moment, because it is the whole thread of the night gathered into a single image, a rounded stone on a dry world, a thing shaped by water in a place with no water left. The water is gone, and the shape remains, and the shape is a kind of memory, the world remembering its rivers in the only language a stone can keep. And you have stones like that inside you too, though you rarely think of them so. You are shaped by things that are no longer here. The people who held you when you were small are gone from the room, and yet the shape of their holding is still in you, in how you rest, in what soothes you. The rivers of your own past have run dry and left you rounded, softened, worn to the shape that is you tonight. This is not a sad thing. It is the most ordinary and most tender thing there is, to be shaped by water that has gone, and to carry the shape gently onward is simply what it is to have a history. Mars does it. The stones do it. You do it, lying here, in the dark, shaped by every river that ever ran through you. Now let us wonder, slowly, about that vanished water, about where a whole world's worth of water goes, because this is where the science turns strangest and most beautiful, and where the fear that might be hiding in the word warning dissolves entirely into wonder. When Mars lost its thick air and its inner warmth, its water had nowhere kind to be. Liquid water needs pressure to stay liquid, the gentle weight of an atmosphere pressing down, or else it does not sit calmly in lakes. It leaves. On a world with thin air, water on the surface does not so much freeze or boil as simply lift away, turning straight from solid to vapor and rising, the way frost vanishes from a windshield on a dry, cold morning without ever seeming to melt. So some of the water rose into the thinning sky and, over ages, drifted apart in the high air and was carried off, molecule by molecule, into the dark, the same slow theft that took the atmosphere itself. But not all of it left. And this is the part that feels like a held breath, the part that the machines are still learning. A great deal of the water did not leave the world at all. It went down. It went into the ground and stayed. It froze into vast fields of ice locked beneath the surface, buried under the red dust, held in the cold dark below the plains. It bound itself chemically into the very minerals of the crust, water folded into rock, tucked away molecule by molecule into stone. The water did not so much die as go to sleep. It is down there now, most of it, frozen and folded and waiting, a whole world's worth of rivers put quietly to bed beneath a red blanket of dust, dreaming, if a planet can dream, of the mornings when it ran. Let me carry you there now, out over that red world, because you have earned a rest from wondering, and there is nothing you need to do for what comes next, but be carried. You do not have to walk. You do not have to arrive. You are simply lifted easily, the way a leaf is lifted off still water by a breath of air and set down high above the plains of that far world, held safe and warm inside nothing you can name, and you drift. Below you the land unrolls, red and rose, and the pale gold of old bone, ridges and hollows, and the long shallow scars of valleys that once held rivers. There is a stillness down there that is not emptiness. It is the stillness of a room where someone slept and has just left, the covers still holding the shape of them. You drift lower, and the ground comes up to meet you without any jolt, and you are moving now just above the surface, floating along the floor of a valley that a river cut when the world was young. Feel the width of it. This valley was carved by water, and you can see how the water moved, how it swept around this bend and pooled in this low place and spilled over there in a long-ago flood. The banks rise on either side of you, layered, striped with the slow beds of sediment that settled here when this was the bottom of a lake and the water was still, and the light came down pink through a thicker sky. You drift along the old riverbed. The stones beneath you are rounded, every one of them, tumbled smooth by a current that stopped flowing before there were eyes anywhere to see it stop, and it is quiet here. But it is a full quiet, the quiet of a thing at rest rather than a thing destroyed. If you listen, not with your ears, but with whatever it is in you that listens when the ears have gone still, you can almost hear the memory of the water. Not the water itself, which is long gone, but its memory, held in the shape of the land, in the rounding of the stones, in the patient stripes of the banks. The whole valley remembers being a river. It holds the shape of the flow the way your body, sinking now into the bed, holds the shape of rest. Drift on. Ahead the valley opens out into a wide, low basin, a great shallow bowl in the land, and you understand, floating out over it, that this was once a lake, a broad still lake under a rose sky, holding the light, lapping softly at its shores. There is no water in it now, but the floor of it is smooth and level and layered, laid down grain by grain over uncountable years of stillness, and at the near edge, where you drift in over it, there is a delta, a wide fan of old sediment spread out exactly where a river once slowed and emptied itself into the lake and let go of everything it had been carrying. You hover over the delta. This is where the river met the lake. This is where the current, having traveled so far, finally rested and set down its cargo of sand and silt and became still. And there is such peace in a delta, such a model of how things are meant to end, not with a wall or a cliff, but with a slow spreading out, a letting go, a laying down of everything carried into stillness, into rest. The river does not crash into the lake. It arrives, and it spreads, and it settles, and it becomes the lake. That is all. That is the whole gentle physics of arriving. And you are arriving too now, in your own bed, in your own dark room, spreading out into the stillness, laying down whatever you have been carrying all this long day, all the small silts and sands of it, the things said and unsaid, the tasks and the worries, letting the current of your thoughts slow at last, and spread and settle into the wide, still basin of sleep. You do not have to crash into rest. You only have to arrive at it, and spread, and let go of everything you have carried, and become still. The river teaches this. The delta teaches this. The whole slow red world below you teaches this, that endings are not walls, but deltas, wide and level and calm, where the long journey simply lays itself down. Let us return, softly, to the machinery of it, to how a world holds or loses its air, because there is comfort even in the mechanism, once you see how ordinary and how slow it is. Think of the atmosphere of a planet not as a fixed thing, but as a balance, a slow trade forever going on between what is added and what is lost. Volcanoes and the deep churn of a warm interior breathe gases up into the sky, feeding the air from below, adding to it century by century. And at the top, at the very edge where the sky thins into space, the sun's wind and the sun's light are forever plucking at the outermost molecules, stripping a little away, carrying a little off. On a large warm world wrapped in its magnetic cloak, the adding wins, or at least holds even, and the air stays thick and the water stays held, and the whole balance rests in a long, calm equilibrium that can last for billions of years. But let the interior cool, let the volcanoes fall silent, let the cloak fray and fall away, and the balance tips. Nothing is being added from below, and the sun keeps patiently taking from above, and the air, over ages, thins. It is not violence. It is bookkeeping. It is a very slow ledger, kept over eons, in which the column of losses gradually, gently outgrows the column of gains, and the planet, without any drama at all, spends down its sky. And here is where the word warning finally shows its face, and I want to hold it up to the low light and show you that even it is nothing to fear tonight. Mars is a warning to us, people say, because Mars had a thick sky and lost it, had rivers and lost them, was warm and grew cold, and we are told to look at it and feel the fragility of our own thin ribbon of air, the only thing between us and the same long silence. And there is truth in that. Our air is thin. Seen from the side, from far out in space, the whole breathable sky of Earth is a startlingly delicate rind, a bright blue skin no thicker on the globe than the skin on an apple, and everything that has ever breathed has lived inside it. That is true, and it is worth knowing in the daylight when there are things to be done and cared for. But tonight the warning turns, as most warnings do when you sit with them long enough, into something closer to gratitude. Because the other face of that same fragile fact is this: you are held. Right now, tonight, you are wrapped in exactly the thing Mars lost. You are lying at the bottom of a warm, deep ocean of air, pressed on all sides by its gentle weight, breathing without effort, without thought, taking in and letting out that soft, invisible tide, protected by a magnetic cloak you will never see, warmed from below by the slow fire at the heart of your own world. Everything Mars lacks, you are swimming in. The warning is real, and its truest reading, in the dark, is not fear, but thankfulness, a low, steady thankfulness for the ordinary miracle of an atmosphere you have never once had to think about. Breathe it, if you like. Take one slow breath and feel it arrive. Feel the whole vast held sky of your planet flow in through you and turn and flow back out. And know that this effortless thing is the exact gift that a whole world across the dark once had and gently gave up. You are not being warned tonight so much as you are being shown, by contrast, how held you are. The dry world is the shadow that lets you see the shape of your own good fortune. And there is nothing to guard against in the dark, nothing to fix, nothing to fear. There is only this breath and the next one, arriving on their own, out of an air that is not going anywhere in any span of time that touches you. An air that will be just as thick and just as warm and just as freely given when you wake as it is now while you drift. Let us wander for a while among the great features of that world. Because Mars, for all its stillness, is a place of astonishing landscapes, and there is a particular peace in picturing scenery that no one will ever hurry you across. Rise up again in your mind, high over the red globe, and look down at the largest mountain in the whole neighborhood of the sun. It is a volcano, long dead now, but so vast that the mind cannot hold it, a broad shield of ancient stone that rises so high its summit stands above most of the thin air, its base so wide it would blanket an entire country, its slopes so long and so shallow that if you stood upon them, you would not even feel you were on a mountain at all, only on a gently tilted plain that went up, and up, and up, for longer than a person could walk in many days. It built itself slowly, this mountain, eruption upon patient eruption, over hundreds of millions of years, on a world whose crust did not drift and shift the way ours does, so that all that outpouring stacked in one place, layer on layer, higher and higher, until it stood taller than any mountain has ever stood on Earth. And now it is quiet. It has been quiet for an unthinkable stretch of time. It rises there in the thin light, enormous and still, a monument to a warmth that has long since cooled, and there is nothing frightening in its size. There is only the deep restfulness of a thing that is finished, that has done all its building, and now simply stands. And then there is the great wound in the side of the world, the canyon, a system of chasms so long that it would stretch across an entire continent here at home, so deep that whole mountain ranges could lie down inside it and vanish, a crack in the crust that opened when the young world stretched and settled and cooled. Drift along it in your mind, along the rim of it, in the low pink light of a Martian afternoon. The far wall is so distant, it fades into haze. The floor lies far below, layered and terraced, marked in places with the telltale signs of old seeps and slumps where water, long ago, worked at the rock. It is vast beyond the scale of any human feeling, and yet, held in the mind at the pace of a night like this one, it is not overwhelming. It is only large, the way the sea is large, the way the sky is large, the way sleep itself is large, a bigness you do not have to cross or conquer, a bigness you can simply lie down at the edge of and let hold you. The Great Canyon is not going anywhere. It has waited billions of years, and it will wait billions more. It is in no hurry, and tonight, neither are you. And down at the top of the world, and the bottom of it, the caps of ice, the pale crowns of that red planet, waxing and waning with its long seasons. These are the same white caps the first watchers saw trembling in their small telescopes and could not explain. We know them now. They are made partly of frozen water, true water ice, layered in great patient sheets, and partly of frozen air itself, a frost of the very carbon dioxide that makes up most of the thin sky, which freezes out onto the caps in the deep cold of the polar winter and lifts off again into the air when the pale sun returns. So the caps breathe. Twice a Martian year, the world exhales and inhales a portion of its own sky, freezing it down onto the poles in winter, releasing it in spring. A slow planetary breathing so patient it takes years to complete a single breath. Even here, on a world we call dead, there is a rhythm, a rise and fall, an inhale and exhale kept up faithfully across the ages by a planet that has forgotten almost everything except how to breathe slowly in its sleep. And is that not exactly what you are doing now? Breathing slowly in your sleep, or nearly, freezing down the day, releasing it again, keeping up the one faithful rhythm that asks nothing of you and never stops. And now let your attention drift from the poles down along the curve of that resting world, down to where the light falls sideways in the long Martian afternoon, and let it settle on the great channels carved into the land, the wide winding beds that run for hundreds of miles and then fan out at their ends into deltas, into the unmistakable shapes that water and only water can make. There is a place there called Jezero, a bowl-shaped basin where a river once emptied itself into a standing lake. And even now, after all this time, after billions of years of stillness, you can see the shape of that ancient shoreline pressed into the rock. You can see the layered fan where the river dropped its silt, spreading it out in the same soft lobes that any river on earth leaves behind when it finally slows and rests. A world remembering its water. That is what you are looking at when you look at Jezero. Not water flowing, not water gone entirely, but water remembered. The memory of a river held in stone, the way a face keeps for years the faint lines of the smiles it once made. The river is not there anymore, but the shape of it is, patient and legible, and the land has held that shape faithfully across an ocean of time, unwilling, it seems, to let the memory go. Let yourself rest in that thought a moment, in the tenderness of a landscape that keeps the shape of what it has lost. There is nothing sad in it, not tonight. The land is not grieving. It is simply remembering, the way you remember, half asleep, the warmth of a room you sat in long ago, the sound of rain against a window you no longer live behind. The memory does not hurt. It only stays, soft and complete, asking nothing, and Mars holds its rivers just like that, in the low relief of ancient banks, in the pale minerals that only form in standing water and lie now dry beneath the dust, clays and carbonates and salts, each one a small faithful witness that here, exactly here, water once pooled and lingered long enough to change the very chemistry of the stone. You are drifting over a planet that wrote down its own history in the only ink it had, and the ink was water, and the page has kept every word. Think, if you like, and let the thinking be slow, of what it must have been to stand on that shore. Not that anyone did, not that we know of, but let the imagining come anyway, unhurried, the way images arrive at the edge of sleep. The sky above that early Mars was not the pale butterscotch it wears now. It was thicker then, heavier, a real atmosphere with weight to it, and it may well have been a soft washed blue, or a hazier gray gold, with clouds moving across it, high clouds of water and ice, casting their slow shadows over the land. There was liquid water lying open to that sky, warm enough, at least in places and in seasons, to run and pool and lap against the rock. There would have been the sound of it, the oldest and most comforting sound there is, water moving over stone, the low, continuous voice of a river that has somewhere to go and all the time in the world to get there. And there would have been weather, rain, perhaps, falling on another world, rain on Mars, drops gathering and falling and gathering again, the same cycle turning that turns above your own roof tonight. A world with rivers is a world with rain, and a world with rain is a world that is awake, breathing, alive in the fullest sense, and Mars was such a world once, for a long, long while, longer than all the ages that have passed since. You do not need to hold the numbers to feel the truth of it. But let one soft number in, just one, and let it be a comfort rather than a weight. The rivers of Mars ran, in their fullness, something like 3.5 to 4 billion years ago. That is not a span the mind can truly cross. It is so long that the light we call ancient here on Earth is young beside it, and yet the land remembers serene. Across all that unthinkable depth of time, the shoreline holds its line, the delta keeps its shape, the minerals keep their quiet chemical promise that water was here. If a planet can hold a memory that long, so patiently, asking nothing, letting nothing of the important thing be lost, then surely the small memories you carry are safe enough tonight. Surely they can be set down. Surely they will keep, held for you in some faithful low relief, while you let go of holding them and simply rest. It is worth drifting, for a little while, through the long story of how we came to know these things, because it is a slow and human story, and slow human stories are good company at the edge of sleep. For most of the ages that people have looked up, Mars was only a wandering point of red light, a small ember that moved against the fixed stars, bright enough to be named for war in a dozen languages because of its color, its steady blood-like glow. No one knew it was a world. It was a light, a sign, a wanderer, and it kept its secret easily, because there was no way to see it as anything more. Then came the first small telescopes, tubes of brass and glass held in cold hands on cold nights, and through them the red light resolved, for the first time in all of history, into a disk. A tiny disk, trembling in the imperfect glass, but a disk, a place, a globe with markings on it, with pale caps at its poles that grew and shrank, with darker patches that shifted with the seasons. Someone, on some ordinary night, was the first human being to understand that the red star was a world with weather. Let that quiet astonishment be yours for a moment, borrowed across the centuries, the astonishment of seeing a light become a place. Then came the watchers who thought they saw lines, long straight channels crossing the face of the planet, drawn, some believed, by hands, by a dying civilization, moving its last water from the poles to the thirsty middle of the world. It was not true. The lines were a trick of tired eyes, straining at the limits of what the glass could show. A pattern the mind assembled out of scattered dots, because the mind loves to find pattern, and loves especially to find intention. But there is something tender even in the error, because the watchers were right about the deepest thing, while being wrong about the surface of it. They looked at Mars and felt certain it had once known water, felt certain it had been alive, and was slipping towards silence, and in that intuition, wrong in every detail, they had somehow touched the true story. Mars had known water. Mars had grown serene. The channels were not canals dug by anyone, but there were channels, real ones, carved by real rivers, and it would take another 100 years and a fleet of patient machines to prove it. And so the machines went. First the ones that only flew past, glimpsing the planet over a few swift hours, and sending home a handful of grainy pictures that showed, to the disappointment of many, a cratered and seemingly barren land, more like the moon than like a living world. It looked dead in those first pictures, and for a little while, the dream of a watery Mars seemed to close. But the machines kept going, and the ones that came after did not merely fly past. They stayed. They slid into orbit and circled the planet for years, mapping it inch by patient inch. And what they found, once they looked closely and long, was the water written everywhere across the land. The dry riverbeds, the flood channels vast beyond anything on Earth, the deltas, the layered sediments that only still water lays down. The whole face of the planet, read carefully, turned out to be a record of water, and the old wrong dreamers turned out to have been right in their bones. Mars had been a world of rivers. The proof had been there all along, written large across the surface, waiting only for eyes patient enough and high enough to read it. And then, at last, we set things down upon the surface itself, small wheeled travelers that rolled across the red plains at the pace of a slow walk, or slower, stopping often, looking closely, reaching out to touch the stone. They are still there, some of them, moving even now across that far quiet country while you lie here in the dark, doing their patient work under a sky you will never stand beneath. There is something deeply restful in that thought, if you let it be restful rather than lonely. Right now, this very moment, on a world tens of millions of miles away, a small machine is rolling gently over ancient river gravel, pausing to study a stone, taking its careful measurements in the thin, cold air, entirely untroubled, entirely at peace, keeping its slow appointment with a planet's forgotten water. It does not hurry. It cannot hurry. The distances are too great, and the light itself takes many minutes to cross between the worlds, so every instruction sent to it goes out and waits, and every answer comes back late, and the whole endeavor unfolds at a tempo of deep and enforced patience. A patience the machine keeps perfectly, rolling a little, resting, looking, resting, in no rush at all to finish what it will never truly finish. The traveler in Jezero rolls across the very delta we spoke of, the fan of an ancient river, and it gathers up small cores of that old stone, sealed carefully away, waiting for the far-off day when some other craft might carry them home across the dark, so that hands here might one day hold a piece of a Martian riverbed and read in it, directly, the memory that the planet has kept so long. Perhaps it will find, tucked in those layers, the faint chemical shadow of something that once lived. Perhaps not. Either answer is a kind of peace. If the stones are empty, then the water ran and pooled and dried without ever waking into life, and the planet's long story is one of water alone, still beautiful, still worth the keeping. And if the stones are not empty, if some small trace is found of a thing that once stirred and fed and grew in those warm, shallow waters, then Mars was a world that not only remembered its rivers, but was, for a while, alive within them, and grew tranquil only later, gently, the way a house grows quiet when its people move on. Tonight, you need not choose between those endings. You can hold them both, softly, and let them both be true enough to rest on, because either way the essential thing is the same. There was water. The land remembers. The story was real. You may wonder, in the drowsy way one wonders at this hour, where all that water went, and why the rivers stopped, and how a world so full of running water came to lie so peaceful. The answer is quiet too, and there is nothing frightening in it, only a slow unwinding, a long letting go that took longer than the mind can hold. Mars is a smaller world than ours, and smaller worlds cool faster, the way a small stone left out overnight loses its warmth long before a great boulder does. Deep in the heart of the young Mars there was heat, and molten metal turning, and that turning heart wrapped the whole planet in a magnetic field, an invisible sheltering hand held up against the wind of the sun. For the sun does not only shine, it also breathes outward a thin, constant stream of particles, a solar wind, and where a planet has that magnetic shelter, as Earth does even now, the wind is turned aside and the air is kept safe beneath it. Mars had that shelter once, and then, as the small world cooled, the turning heart slowed and the magnetic hand loosened and lowered and finally fell away. And with the shelter gone, the long, slow, patient wind of the sun reached down at last and began, molecule by molecule, across millions upon millions of years, to lift the atmosphere away into space. It was not a catastrophe. That is the thing to let settle over you now, softly, as you breathe. It was not a blast or a blow or a single terrible day. It was slow beyond slowness. It took hundreds of millions of years, an unhurried thinning of the sky so gradual that no single generation of anything, had anything been there to watch, could have seen it happening at all. The air grew thinner. the pressure fell, and as the sky thinned, the water could no longer stay liquid on the surface, for water needs a certain weight of air above it to keep from simply lifting away as vapor, and so the rivers, over ages, withdrew. Some of the water rose into the thinning sky and was lost. And much of it, a great deal of it, did not leave at all, but went down instead, and cold, sinking into the ground, freezing into the soil, gathering at the poles, hiding itself away beneath the dust as ice. The water did not so much vanish as go to sleep. It is still there. Much of it is simply resting, frozen and patient, held in the cold ground and the pale caps, a whole planet's worth of water lying hushed underground, waiting out the long winter of a world, the way a seed waits, the way you are waiting now, without effort, for morning. So when we say that Mars is a warning to Earth, let us be careful, here in the dark, to hear the word the right way, the tender way, and not the fearful way. A warning is only a kind of remembering offered forward in time. Mars is not a threat standing over us. It is an elder world, an older sibling that walked a little way down a road we all share and came back with a story in its hands and holds that story out to us patiently across the dark. The story it tells is simply this: that a world's air is a gift and not a given, that the shelter around a living planet is a real and precious thing, that warmth and water and a breathable sky are held in a balance so quiet we forget it is there, the way you forget, most of the time, the steady beating of your own heart. Mars remembers what it is to lose that balance slowly, over ages, and it offers the memory to us not to frighten us, but to help us cherish, while we have it, the thin blue shelter of our own good air. That is not a heavy thought. It is a grateful one. Tonight, without doing anything at all, without lifting a finger, you are wrapped in exactly the shelter that Mars long ago let go, the living magnetic hand of the Earth turning the solar wind aside, the good thick air pressing warm and close around every roof and every sleeping face on the whole turning world. And you get to simply rest inside that gift, breathing it, held by it, safe. Let that safety be a blanket over you now. You are on a world that still has its rivers. Outside, near or far, there is running water somewhere in the dark, streams moving over stones, rain gathering in gutters, the sea turning against a shore, and even if you cannot hear any of it from where you lie, it is there. The great living circulation of a planet that is still awake, still breathing, still keeping its rivers full. You belong to a world of water. You are mostly water yourself, a small warm gathering of the same substance that carved Jezero and fills the seas. And the water in you is at rest now, settling, going peaceful in your resting body, the way the water of Mars went quiet in its resting ground, except that yours is only resting for a night, only sleeping, ready to rise warm and moving with you in the morning. Let yourself be carried now, gently, out over that ancient water in the way of a dream, where nothing has weight and nothing needs to be understood. Imagine drifting low above the old riverbed of Mars, not walking, not flying under any effort of your own, but simply floating. Borne along the way, a leaf is borne on the slow surface of a stream, moving without moving, carried by something patient and unhurried that has you entirely and will not let you fall. Below you the channel winds, wide and dry and soft with dust, and you follow its every gentle turn the way the water once followed it, tracing the memory of the river along its own old path. There is no sound here, or only the faintest imagined whisper, the low remembered voice of water that ran here long ago, kept somehow in the shape of the banks, murmuring up to you as you pass. You are being carried down the length of a memory. And there is nothing to do but let the carrying happen, nothing to steer, nothing to reach for. Only the slow drift onward through the tender red light, following the water that is not there and yet has never fully left. Feel how your body settles the more you let yourself be carried. Feel the small letting go in the shoulders, the loosening at the hinge of the jaw, the way the hands give up their holding and lie open and easy, the way the breath, without any managing from you, finds its own low, unhurried rhythm, out and in, like a shore washed slowly by a tide. You do not have to hold yourself together tonight. The world will do that. The bed beneath you does that, the ground beneath the bed, the whole patient body of the earth beneath the ground, all of it holding you up without the slightest effort. The way the old channel holds the memory of its river, faithfully, asking nothing. Let the sense of being held move up through you like warmth rising through cool water, from the soles of the feet, along the heavy restful legs, into the low quiet belly and the slow chest and the softening face, until you are held everywhere at once, floating, carried, drifting on down the long-remembered river of a resting world, further and further into the tender red calm. Drift now toward the great mountain, for there is a mountain on Mars unlike anything the Earth has ever raised, and it too is part of the long, low story. It is called Olympus, and it is a volcano, though the word volcano need bring you no heat and no fear tonight, for its fires went out ages beyond counting ago, and it stands now cold and enormous and utterly serene. It is the tallest mountain on any world we know, 3 times the height of the highest peak on Earth, so wide across its base that if you stood upon its summit, you would not be able to see its edges falling away, for they would curve down past the very horizon of the little world beneath you. And its slopes are so gentle, so gradual, spread over such an immense width that climbing it would feel less like scaling a mountain than like walking, endlessly and easily, up a plane that only slowly, imperceptibly, tilts toward the sky. A mountain you could not fall from. A mountain so vast and so mild that it holds no menace at all, only a great patient presence, rising in slow silence above the red plains, catching the first light of the small far sun and the last of it, keeping its long cold watch over the sleeping land. That such a giant could form at all is part of the tenderness of Mars, for it grew so large precisely because the world grew still. On the living Earth, the ground itself drifts. The great plates of the crust slide slowly over the deep, and so no single vent can build for very long before the land carries it away, and the fire must begin again elsewhere. But Mars grew faint early, its crust settling into one unbroken piece, unmoving, and so the same vent could pour out its slow patient rock over the same spot for ages upon ages, layer upon gentle layer, building and building with all the time in the world, until it had raised a mountain to touch the edge of space. The stillness made the greatness possible. The quieting of the world let it build the one enormous peaceful thing it is most known for. And is that not a soft thought to hold, that stillness can build as well as end? That a world going quiet is not only losing, but also, somewhere, slowly making something vast and calm and lasting. You are going quiet now too. Let it build in you whatever it will. Let the stillness do its slow work. And there is a canyon too, on the other side of that stillness. A wound in the land so long and so deep that it makes the greatest canyon of the earth seem a small crease by comparison. It is called Mariner, a system of vast chasms running along the equator of Mars for a distance that, if it were laid across our own world, would reach nearly from one coast of a continent to the other. In places, it plunges downward far enough to swallow whole mountain ranges, and its walls fall away in terraced cliffs and slumped slopes that speak again of water, of ground once soaked and softened, of great collapses and slow seepings from ages when the deep places of the planet still ran wet. To drift along the length of it in the mind is to travel for a long, long while, the walls rising in stately red tiers on either side, the floor far below patterned with the pale ghosts of old flows, the light pooling in the great gulf and changing slowly as the small day turns. It is a place of immense scale and immense soft, and there is nothing in it now but dust and stone and the memory of water, and the wind moving through it so thinly that it would barely stir a candle, a wind you could stand in and scarcely feel, breathing its low, endless note through a canyon large enough to hold an ocean, if the ocean had only stayed. But the ocean did not stay, and here is a thing to rest on rather than to mourn. For the lone northern plains of Mars, the great smooth basin that covers nearly a third of the planet, lie strikingly flat and level, flatter than almost anything the rest of the world can show, and many who have studied them believe that flatness is the flatness of an old seafloor, the smooth bed left behind by a shallow northern ocean that once lay across the top of the world. Stand in the mind at the edge of that vanished shore, along the faint terraces that may mark its ancient waterline, and look out over the flat pale plain where the sea once was, and feel not the loss of it, but the long peace that has settled where the waves used to be. The water rested here. For a while there was a sea on Mars, wide and serene under a thicker sky, and then, over ages past all hurrying, it withdrew and sank and slept, and left behind this great smooth level calm, this vast still floor, this open resting place that remembers, in its very flatness, the weight of the water it once held. Let your thoughts widen now, slowly, from the surface of that one small world out into the great room of space in which it turns, because there is a particular comfort in scale when it is held the right way. A comfort not of being small and lost, but of being small and safely kept. Mars and the Earth are near neighbors as such things go, two worlds circling the same modest star, and yet even that nearness is a distance so great that light itself, the fastest thing there is, takes many minutes to cross it. So that the sunlight now falling on the red plains left the sun the same as the light falling on your own roof, and both worlds are lit by one lamp, warmed by one small steady fire hung in the middle of an immense and patient dark. Around that fire the worlds move in their long, slow circles, Mars a little further out, taking nearly 2 of our years to make one journey around, moving so unhurriedly along its wide cold orbit that a single Martian year is almost more waiting than a mind can picture, and yet it keeps that appointment too, faithfully, looping round and round through the ages, in no more hurry than the machine that rolls across its surface, in no more hurry than your own slow breath. And here is the reassurance folded inside the bigness, the thing to carry down with you into sleep. All of that vastness, all those millions of miles and billions of years, all the slow circling of worlds, and the long thinning of skies, and the patient sleep of a planet's water, all of it holds you, rather than threatens you. You are not standing outside it, exposed to it. You are inside it, a small warm part of it, wrapped in the good air of a living world that is itself wrapped in the shelter of its magnetic field, that is itself held in the steady arms of its orbit around a stable and long burning star. Nothing out there in all that immense tranquil is reaching toward you tonight. The universe is not leaning over your bed, It is simply turning, slowly as it always has, keeping the worlds in their courses, keeping the star alight, keeping the whole great clockwork moving at its ancient unhurried pace, and asking nothing of you, needing nothing from you, letting you rest as completely as the red planet rests, held in the same wide dark, warmed by the same small fire, carried by the same great patient turning that carries everything and lets everything, in its own time, lie tranquil. Come back now, softly, from the wide dark to the surface again, to the small human scale of a single Martian evening, for there are 2 moons above that resting world, and they are worth drifting beneath before the night grows deeper. They are small moons, both of them, not the great bright lantern that hangs above your own nights, but 2 little tumbling stones, captured long ago, circling close and quick above the red plains. The nearer one races round the planet faster than the planet itself turns, so that seen from the surface, it rises in the west and sets in the east, backward against the sky, crossing overhead more than once in a single Martian day, a small swift point of light hurrying through the stars. And the farther one drifts slowly the other way, taking its patient time, a fainter and gentler spark, to stand beneath them in the mind. Under a sky where 2 little moons move at their different speeds through the cold, clear dark, is to feel how strange and how peaceful another world's night can be. How the same simple things, a moon, a movement, a slow turning toward morning, can be arranged so differently, and still be, at heart, the same tender machinery of night that is turning now above you, carrying you too, without your effort, toward your own morning. The sky of Mars at night is a deep and hushed dark, deeper than most nights here, for the air is thin and holds little of the light, and the stars stand out hard and clear and steady across it, unblurred, unhurried. The same stars very nearly that you would see from your own window, the same faithful patterns, for the stars are so far away that even the leap between the worlds does not much rearrange them. And low in that Martian sky, if you knew where to look, there would be one particular star, a small blue point, steady and calm among the others, and that blue star would be the Earth. That would be your own world, seen from Mars, a peaceful blue spark in someone else's evening sky, holding all of its oceans and all of its rivers and every sleeping soul upon it inside a single soft point of light. How small and how safe it would look from there. How gentle. Just a calm blue star, low in the dark, giving no sign of all the life it carries, only shining steadily, the way the good things do, asking nothing, simply being there, simply keeping its light. While far below its distant glow you lie here now, one small warm part of that blue spark, resting. Let us go down again now to the ground, to the fine red dust that covers everything on Mars, because even the dust is part of the memory, and even the dust is a comfort tonight. The whole planet is coated in it, a soft iron red powder finer than flour, and it is red, for the simplest and most human of reasons. The same reason an old nail left in the rain turns red, the same reason a drop of blood is red, because the iron in it has met with oxygen and slowly, over unimaginable time, has rusted. The red of Mars is rust. The whole planet blushes with it, and rust, though it sounds at first like ruin, is really only a kind of slow marriage between metal and air, and to make it you need oxygen, and to have had so much oxygen you very likely once needed water. For it is water that most patiently frees the oxygen and carries it to the iron, and lets the long, slow rusting begin. So even the color of Mars, the red that named it for war in all those old tongues, is not the color of violence at all, but the color of water's long ago work. the stain that water left behind as it touched the iron of the ground age after age. The planet is red because it once was wet. It wears the memory of its water on the outside, in its very color. A rust-red calm laid over a world that remembers its rivers, and there is nothing fearful in that red at all once you know what wrote it. It is the softest kind of red. It is the red of remembering. And that dust rises, sometimes, and moves. The winds of Mars are thin, but they are real. And now and then they gather the fine red powder up into slow storms that can spread, over weeks, across the whole face of the planet, wrapping the world in a soft dim haze through which the small sun glows a pale and muffled disk. But even these storms, which sound so wild, are gentle things by the measure of a thicker world, for the air is so thin that its winds, though swift, have almost no weight to them, almost no force, and would barely lean against you if you stood in them. A great planet-wide dust storm on Mars would be, to a body standing in it, little more than a faint dry breath, a slow reddening of the light, a hush falling over the land as the sun goes soft and dim behind the drifting veil. The world simply lowers its light and grows quiet under the moving dust, dimming itself the way a room dims when someone draws a soft curtain against the afternoon. And then, in time, always, the dust settles again, and the pale sun returns, and the red plains lie clear once more beneath the deep low sky. Even the storms of Mars know how to end in stillness. Even the wildest thing that world can do resolves, in the end, back into calm. Consider, drowsily, how the days themselves pass on that resting world. For a day on Mars is very nearly the length of a day on Earth, only a little longer, by some 40 minutes or so, a difference so slight that a human heart would settle into that rhythm almost at once, would wake and tire and rest by it, without ever quite noticing the small extra measure of quiet added to each turning. It is one of the tender coincidences of the two worlds, that their days should chime so nearly in time, as if Mars kept, out of all it lost, this one small kinship with us, this matching pulse of light and dark. The sun rises there, small and pale but true, over the red horizon, and climbs its low arc through the deep sky, and warms the frozen ground by day just enough to lift a breath of vapor here and there, and then sinks again in the west, or in the east for the swift little moon, and the long cold night comes down, and the stars come out hard and clear, and the temperature falls far, and the world holds its breath through the dark until the small sun climbs again. Day after day, for age after age, this has gone on, this faithful turning, this rise and fall of pale light over a quiet land, unwatched, uncounted, kept up perfectly by a planet that needs no one to keep it, the way your own breath is kept up perfectly now without your keeping it, rising and falling, through the long dark toward the morning. There is a great and simple peace in things that continue without needing to be tended, and Mars is full of such things. And so, quietly, are you. Your heart does not ask your permission to beat. Your lungs do not wait for your instruction to fill. The slow tides of your blood, the patient work of every cell, the settling and mending that the body does most deeply in sleep, all of it goes on faithfully beneath your notice, tended by nothing you must do. The way the seasons turn on Mars, and the caps breathe, and the dust settles, and the pale sun climbs, all of it moving in its own good order, without a single effort from you. You may let go entirely tonight, and nothing that matters will stop. The turning does not depend on your holding it. The rivers of your body will keep their courses while you sleep. The warmth will keep. The breath will keep. The slow, faithful machinery of a living thing will go on tending you through the dark, exactly as the slow, faithful machinery of a world goes on turning the red planet toward its distant dawn. You are as safely kept as Mars is. You may rest as completely as it rests. Return once more, in the soft way of a mind circling toward sleep, to the water hidden underground. For it is perhaps the tenderest part of the whole story, and worth resting on a while longer. Beneath the poles of Mars, under the layered caps, lie sheets of water ice so thick and so wide that if they were somehow melted and spread out over the whole planet, they would cover it in a shallow sea. An ocean's worth of water held frozen and patient in the cold. And it is not only at the poles. In the mid-latitudes, buried beneath the dust and the stone, there are thought to be great hidden fields of ice, whole buried glaciers, aprons and lobes of frozen water, tucked beneath a thin insulating blanket of soil, kept cold and safe and still for ages, sleeping just below the surface of a world that looks, from above, entirely dry. And deeper motionless, far down, some believe there may even be water that is not frozen at all, water kept liquid by the faint warmth of the planet's slow cooling heart, and by the salts dissolved within it, dark, quiet reservoirs lying in the deep rock, water that has perhaps never frozen and never seen the sky in all the long ages since the surface went hushed. The planet did not lose its water. It only tucked it in. It drew the water down and covered it over and kept it, the way you draw the blankets up and settle beneath them. And there it lies, held close and patient in the dark of the ground, waiting out the winter of a world remembering its water. But more than remembering, you see now, softly in the drowsy dark, more than only remembering, for the water is not merely a memory pressed in stone, it is truly there still, most of it, held and sleeping, real and present and patient beneath the rust-red calm. The rivers are not there, but the water they carried is, gathered down and kept safe underground, a whole planet cradling its own oldest treasure through the long night of its stillness, unwilling to let it go, keeping it close the way you keep, even in sleep, the things you love, holding them somewhere deep and safe below the surface of your rest. And who is to say the rivers will not run again, someday, in some far age when the small world warms, or the ice shifts, or some patient hand melts it free? The water waits. It is not gone. It is only sleeping, as you are, kept safe underground the way the important things are always kept safe when we let them go quiet for a while, held in the dark, held in the cold, held faithfully against the coming of some distant, gentler morning. Let the mind drift now to the gravity of that place, to how a body would feel upon it, because there is a lightness there that is worth imagining as you grow heavy with sleep, a strange soft paradox to rest inside. Mars is smaller than the Earth and holds you less tightly, so that anything standing on it weighs only a little more than a third of what it weighs here, and to walk there would be to move as if half the burden of yourself had been quietly lifted away. A step would carry you further and settle you slower. A stone dropped would fall in a long, lazy arc, taking its unhurried time to reach the ground. To leap would be to hang for a moment longer in the thin, cold air before drifting back down, as though the world had loosened, just a little, its hold, without ever letting go. And yet, here is the tenderness of it. Even at a third of Earth's pull, the ground still holds you, still keeps you, still draws every leap gently back down to rest against it. You could not float away. The world is lighter there, but it has not forgotten how to hold, and so a body upon Mars is held and unburdened at once, kept safe against the ground, and yet carrying almost nothing of its own weight, which is very nearly, is it not, the way your body feels right now, at the edge of sleep, still held, still kept, but growing lighter and lighter, as the day's whole weight goes drifting slowly off of you. Feel that now. Feel the weight leaving you the way weight is lessened on that far world. Let each part of you grow lighter in its turn, as if you too had come to a place that holds you more softly, that asks you to carry less. The heaviness lifts first from the face, the small held weight around the eyes and the brow going light and smooth. Then from the shoulders that carry so much and so quietly, letting their long burdens slide away into the bed. Then from the arms and the open hands, from the deep unclenching chest, from the belly rising and falling in its slow low tide, from the hips settling deeper, from the long legs growing loose and easy, from the very feet, until the whole of you feels lightened, unburdened, held against the soft ground of the bed by a gravity gentle enough to keep you, and gentle enough to let you rest. A third of the old weight, a tenth of it, less, lighter and lighter, until you are hardly holding anything at all, until you are as good as drifting, kept safe and carrying nothing, over the tender red calm of a resting world. There is a color to the Martian sky that is worth resting in, for it is unlike our own and gentler than you might expect. By day, when the small sun rides high, the sky is not blue as ours is, but a soft pale butterscotch, a warm dusty tan, for the fine red powder hanging always in the thin air scatters the light differently than our thick blue air does, and drapes the day in that muted golden haze. And then, at the day's two hinges, at dawn and at dusk, the strangest and most tender thing happens, for the sky around the setting sun turns not red and gold, as ours does, but blue. A soft, cool blue gathering close about the sinking sun, while the rest of the sky holds its warm tan glow. The sunsets of Mars are blue, where our world burns orange at the edge of night. That world cools to a faint blue around its small departing sun, a blue twilight settling over the red land, the two colors meeting so softly at the horizon that a body watching would hardly know where the warm day ended and the cool night began. Imagine standing in that blue Martian dusk, in the hush of it, the small sun sinking into its ring of cool blue light, the red plains going dim and violet around you, the first hard stars pricking through overhead, the whole world lowering itself with such quiet grace into the dark. It is a sunset made for sleep, a slow blue closing of the day on a slow and resting world, and you may watch it now behind your eyes for as long as you like, sinking with it, cooling with it, letting the blue dusk of Mars draw down over you the way sleep is drawing down over you now. And as that far sun sets, think how the light of it has already traveled so far to fall there, and how the same light falls here, and how you and the red planet are in the end warmed by one fire and drawn toward one rest. The sun that gilds the dust of Mars is the sun that will warm your own window in the morning. The same small, steady star tending both worlds at once across the immense, soft dark, giving its light freely to the living blue world and the resting red one alike, asking nothing of either, only shining, only keeping its long, faithful fire. There is a great tenderness in being warmed by the same light as a distant world, in knowing that the star which lit the ancient rivers of Mars is the very star that lit the seas you have known, that one fire has warmed all of it, the water that ran, and the water that sleeps, and the water that is you, and that this one fire is shining still, and will be shining come morning, patient and unhurried, keeping its watch over every resting thing. Let the imagining soften now into something even slower, into the deep geologic patience of the place, for time itself runs differently in the story of a world, and there is rest to be found in surrendering to that vast, unhurried clock. Nothing on Mars happens quickly. The seasons turn across nearly 2 of our years. The great storms build over weeks and settle over months. The ice at the poles lays down its layers one thin sheet at a time, a little each year, so that the stacked banding of the caps is a calendar hundreds of thousands of years deep, each pale line a season, each darker line a slow shift in the tilt of the world. The whole record written so gradually that to read it is to read across spans of time no life could ever span, and the great mountain rose over ages, and the great canyon opened over ages, and the water withdrew over ages, and the rust crept across the iron over ages, and the dust settled grain by grain over ages, until the sheer slowness of it all becomes a kind of lullaby in itself, a reassurance that nothing needs to be hurried, that the important changes are the patient ones, that a world has all the time there is and spends it without the slightest anxiety, laying down its layers, keeping its slow appointments, indifferent to speed, in love, it almost seems, with patience. Borrow that patience now. Let the frantic small clock of the day, the ticking count of things undone and things to come, slow and slow and slow, until it keeps the time of Mars, until an hour feels like nothing, and a night feels like the smallest possible turning of a very great and gentle wheel. There is nowhere you need to be. There is nothing tonight that cannot wait for the slow, sure turning of the world to bring it round again in its own good time. The tasks will keep, the worries will keep. They will still be there in the morning if they are needed, held in their own low relief like the shoreline of Jezero, losing nothing by being set down for a while. And most of them, you may find, will have quietly settled and drained away in the night like water sinking into patient ground, leaving the land of the morning smoother and calmer than the land of the evening was. Let them sink, let them go serene. Let the great slow clock of the resting world take the weight of the hours from you, and count them so slowly, so patiently, so tenderly, that you need not count them at all. Drift back, once more, to the small travelers still at work upon the surface, and let their patient company be the last waking thought for a while, for there is deep comfort in the knowledge that even now, even as you let go, something faithful is keeping watch out there in the red quiet. The little rovers rest through the Martian nights the way you are resting now, folding down their work when the sun sets and the cold comes deep, holding hushed through the long dark, waiting out the freezing hours until the pale dawn returns and warms their patient machinery and lets them stir again. They sleep in their way, and they wake in their way, keeping the same simple rhythm you keep, the rhythm every faithful thing keeps, rest and rise, down through the cold and up into the light. And through the day they roll a little further along the old riverbeds, a few slow feet, a careful few yards, pausing often to look and to listen and to touch, gathering the patient memory of the water into their small, careful hands, in no hurry, never in any hurry, tending the long, tranquil work of remembering a world's rivers with a devotion that asks for nothing and never tires. There is something in that image to carry down into the deepest part of the night, the image of a small, faithful thing keeping its patient watch over an ancient water in a far red silence while you sleep. You are not asked to keep any watch tonight. That is the gift of it. The watching is being done, out there and everywhere, by faithful, patient things that need no help from you. The rovers rolling gently over the old delta, the ice sleeping safe beneath the poles, the caps breathing their slow planetary breath, the great mountain keeping its silent vigil above the plains, the whole resting world tending its own long memory without a single thought or effort required of you. You may set the whole of it down. You may let the watching pass entirely out of your hands and into the hands of the patient world, and simply rest, simply drift, simply be one more thing that the great faithful turning is keeping safe tonight, cradled in the good air of a living planet, warmed by a steady star, held in the wide and gentle dark, while far away across that dark a small red world remembers its water, and a small brave traveler rolls slowly over an ancient shore, and none of it, not any of it, needs anything from you at all. Let the water thread run through you now in a fuller way, slowly, as the last of the waking thoughts loosen and drift, for the story of Mars and the story of you are made, at bottom, of the very same thing. The water that once ran on Mars, and the water that runs on Earth, and the water that fills the warm, quiet body lying here in the dark, are not different waters. They are the same ancient substance, the same simple joining of the lightest thing there is with the breath of burning, made long ago in the hearts of dying stars, and scattered out across the dark, and gathered in again by the young worlds as they formed, so that every drop of water anywhere, in every sea, and every cloud, and every sleeping cell, is old beyond old, star-born, world-shared, passed from cloud to river to sea to sky, and round again through ages beyond counting. The water in the rivers of Mars and the water in the rivers of Earth came from the same deep and ancient well, and so did you. The water that is resting in you now, settling in your slow blood, pooling soft behind your heavy eyes, is kin to the water that carved Jezero, kin to the sea that smoothed the northern plains, kin to the ice that sleeps beneath the red poles, one family of water spread across the worlds. And you are simply the small, warm gathering of it that happens, tonight, to be lying here, breathing, remembering, letting go. And is that not a tender place to rest, in the knowledge that you are made of the same patient stuff as a resting world, that the water in you knows how to be peaceful, because water has always known how to be still, gathering itself down into the low, quiet places, sinking into rest, keeping itself safe in the dark, waiting without worry for the morning. Let your own water go quiet now the way the water of Mars went hushed, not lost, not gone, only resting, drawn down into the deep, low, peaceful places of the body, kept safe there through the night, waiting patiently for the dawn that will call it up again into movement and warmth and the ordinary miracle of a waking day. You are a world remembering its water. You are a peaceful memory of rivers held in a warm and resting form. And like Mars, you keep the water still and safe within you through the long dark, asking nothing of it, letting it sleep, trusting it to rise again, faithfully, gently, with the coming of the light. Let the mind wander one last time out across the whole face of the resting world, gathering up all the quiet places we have drifted through, holding them together softly, the way you might hold the map of a country you have grown to love. There are the pale caps at the poles, breathing their slow twin breath, freezing down the sky in winter, releasing it in spring. There is Jezero with its ancient delta, the fan of an old river pressed forever into stone. There is the great mountain Olympus, vast and cold and serene, built patiently by the very stillness of the world. There is the long, deep canyon of Mariner, running its terraced silence along the equator, large enough to hold a sea, There are the flat, pale northern plains, smooth as an old seafloor, remembering in their very levelness the weight of the water they once held. There are the two little moons, the swift and the slow, tumbling their different ways through the deep dark sky. There is the buried ice, whole sleeping glaciers tucked beneath the dust, and the deep hidden water that may never have frozen at all. There is the rust-red dust over everything, the soft stain of water's ancient work, and the blue dusk gathering around the small setting sun, and the small brave traveler rolling gently over the old shore. All of it resting, all of it patient, all of it holding, faithfully, the long, low memory of its rivers. And there is you, here, in the warm dark, one more resting thing among all the resting things, gathered up now into the same great calm. You have drifted over an entire world tonight without ever leaving your bed, without lifting a finger, carried the whole way by nothing but the soft turning of the mind towards sleep. You have stood on an ancient shore and floated down a remembered river and watched a blue sun set over red plains and felt the weight lift gently from your body under a lighter and kinder gravity. You have been shown a world that lost its rivers and kept its water, that grew faint and grew vast, that remembers everything and mourns nothing, and in the showing you have grown quiet too, and heavy too, and ready, now, to let the last of the day sink down into the patient ground of sleep. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere left to go. There is only this warm resting, this slow safe breathing, this tender red calm settling over you as it settles over the far soft world, drawing you down, gently and completely, toward the deep still center of the night. Rest a while longer in the thought of how serene Mars truly is, for its silence is not an empty thing, but a full and settled one, and there is deep peace in imagining it. The thin air carries sound so poorly that a voice raised upon those plains would seem small and muffled and would not travel far, would sink away into the vast red distances almost as soon as it was made, so that the whole world lies under a hush deeper than any hush the earth can offer. A silence so complete that the loudest thing in it might be the faint dry sift of dust moving over stone, or the low thin sigh of the wind against a rover's frame, or nothing at all, nothing, a silence with no bottom to it, spread out unbroken across 1,000 miles of empty rust-red calm. Imagine standing in that silence, in the great open stillness of the Martian afternoon, with the pale sun warm and small overhead and the red plains running flat to the curved near horizon, and no sound anywhere, no sound at all, only the quiet of a whole world holding perfectly still. It is not a lonely silence, not tonight. It is a resting silence. The silence of a thing that has finished its loud and busy ages and come at last into a long and peaceful tranquil, and you may lay yourself down within it as within the softest and most complete of hushes, letting its stillness be your stillness, letting its silence draw the last small noises out of your own mind until you too are perfectly, peacefully hushed. And into that silence, let your breath be the only slow sound, the tide of it rising and falling, the one soft rhythm moving through the great red stillness, matched now to the slow breathing of the caps, matched to the slow turning of the world, matched to the patient sleep of all the buried water, until you can no longer quite tell where your breathing ends and the breathing of the resting planet begins, until you and Mars are breathing together, slow and low and easy, two peaceful things resting under one wide dark, two patient keepers of an ancient water, two worlds going gently settled. There is nothing to listen for. There is nothing to say. There is only the breath, and the silence around the breath, and the deep red calm holding both, and the slow sure turning carrying you, without any effort of your own, deeper and deeper into the low, further and further into the soft country of sleep, where the last thoughts loosen and drift apart like dust settling after a storm, and the mind grows smooth and pale and level as the northern plains, and everything at last goes calm. Let one more soft thought come, the tenderest of them, before the night draws fully closed, the thought of the far someday when people might stand upon that world at last, in their careful suits under the butterscotch sky, walking slowly across the old riverbeds, with the light gravity lifting their steps, kneeling by the ancient delta to touch the stone the rovers touched, drinking, perhaps, water melted from the buried ice, the very water that ran there billions of years ago, tasting on a far world the memory of its rivers made liquid and living again. It is a gentle dream, and it may yet come true, and there is comfort in it whether it does or not, for it means the story of Mars is not only a story of ending, but also, quietly, a story that opens forward, a story with a morning somewhere in it, a world whose long night might yet give way, in some far patient age, to feed upon its shore and warmth in its air, and water once more moving in the light. The rivers slept. The rivers may wake. Nothing in the great slow turning is ever quite finished, and even a world called dead is only resting, only holding its water safe in the dark, only waiting, as all patient things wait, for whatever gentle dawn is still to come. And if that far red world can hold its water so faithfully through billions of years of night and keep, against all that silence, the shape and the memory and the sleeping substance of its rivers, safe underground, unlost, waiting, then surely you can hold, through this one small night, the few quiet things you love, and keep them safe below the surface of your rest, and trust them to be there still, whole and unharmed, when your own morning comes. You need not guard them tonight. You need only let them go faint, the way the water went quiet, drawn down into the deep, safe, patient dark, and rest, and trust the turning, and wait without worry for the light. The world will keep them. The world keeps everything that matters. It has been keeping the rivers of Mars for longer than the mind can hold, and it will keep the small, warm treasures of your own heart through the few short hours until the dawn, faithfully, gently, asking nothing, the way it is keeping you now, cradled and safe, and slowly, slowly going serene. Sink now into the deepest and simplest layer of the whole slow story, into the plain, soft fact that a world can lose so much and still be, in every way that matters, at peace. Mars lost its thick air, and it is at peace. Mars lost its open rivers, and it is at peace. Mars lost its warmth and its blue sky, and its running seas, and the whole loud fullness of its early ages, and it lies now under the deep hush of its own long evening entirely, perfectly, unhurriedly at peace, keeping what it kept, remembering what it remembers, mourning nothing, wanting nothing, simply resting in the shape of everything it once was. There is a lesson in that stillness so gentle it barely needs saying, only feeling, only breathing. The lesson that peace does not depend on holding on, that a thing can let go of a great deal and lose nothing of its deep serene, that to grow tranquil is not to grow poor, but only to grow calm, to settle into the low peaceful places, to keep the essential things safe and let the rest drift gently away. You may lose the whole of the day tonight and be no poorer for it. You may let go of every busy thing you carried into the dark and find yourself, like Mars, not emptied but calmed, not lessened but still resting in the quiet shape of all you are, keeping safe below the surface the one or two things that truly matter, and letting everything else sink softly out of reach. And so, let it sink. Let the whole long day sink down through you the way the water sank down through the ground of Mars, slowly, patiently, finding its low, tranquil resting places, drawing itself out of the busy surface and down into the deep, calm dark, where it can lie safe and motionless until morning. Let the thoughts sink. Let the small aches sink. Let the plans and the worries and the half-finished things all sink gently down and settle, out of sight, out of reach, into the patient ground of sleep, where they will keep perfectly well without your holding them, where they will rest as the water rests, cradled and quiet and safe. There is nothing on the surface now that needs you. There is only the settling, the sinking, the slow, soft drawing down of everything into stillness, and you may go with it, sink with it, settle with it, down and down into the deep red calm, into the long, patient hush, into the tender, waiting dark, where a resting world holds its water and a resting mind lets go of its day, both of them going hushed together, both of them safe, both of them slowly, gently, completely coming to rest. Feel now, as the very last of the waking mind loosens, how far you have drifted and how safely, how the whole vast red world has passed beneath you tonight like a slow dream and left you only calmer, only heavier, only more ready to let go. You began at the pale breathing caps, and you have wandered all the way down through the ancient rivers and the great hushed mountain and the deep peaceful canyon and the flat remembered sea, through the blue dusk and the two small moons and the buried sleeping ice, and everywhere you went the story was the same. A world remembering its water. A low memory of rivers held under a rust-red calm. A planet that lost so much and kept the one deep thing and lies now perfectly at rest. And everywhere the story turned, at last, to you, to the water resting in your own warm body, to the day sinking down through you into stillness, to the safe and patient keeping of everything that matters while the surface of you goes faint. There is nothing more to see now. There is nothing more to understand. The whole long slow tale has done its gentle work, and it asks now only that you rest, only that you breathe, only that you let the last small light of waking dim and cool and blue like a Martian sunset and sink away into the deep. So let it. Let the light go down. Let the mind grow smooth and level and pale. Let the breath grow slow and low and easy. Let the body grow light and loose and heavy all at once, held safe against the soft ground of the bed by a gentle and forgiving pull, carrying nothing, needing nothing, tending nothing, keeping no watch, holding no weight. The world is turning you toward morning without any help from you. The water in you is resting without any effort from you. The far red planet is keeping its patient vigil over its ancient rivers, whether you wake or sleep, and it does not need your watching, and neither does anything else tonight. You are free, entirely free, to drift down now into the deepest and softest part of the dark, into the long peaceful center of the night, into sleep, carried the whole way by the same slow faithful turning that carries the worlds, held the whole way by the same wide gentle dark that holds the resting red planet, safe and quiet, and finally, completely, at peace. Stay here a moment more in the warm soft, in the last unhurried stretch of the waking mind, and let the red world grow faint and soft at the edges the way a landscape does when you watch it through half-closed eyes. The rivers are dry, and the rivers are remembered, and the water sleeps safe beneath the ground. And none of that is sad now. Not here. Not in the deep, tender calm you have drifted into. For you have learned tonight the gentle secret of that world, that to grow settled is only to grow peaceful, that to let go is only to be kept, that a world remembering its water is not a world in mourning, but a world at rest, holding its oldest treasure close and serene through the long, faithful night. And you are such a world tonight, small and warm and full of resting water, holding your own tranquil treasures close, going gently calm beneath your own soft dark, remembering nothing you must remember, guarding nothing you must guard, only breathing, only sinking, only coming slowly and completely to rest. The whole long story has brought you here, to the simple deep peace of a resting thing under a patient sky, and here, now, at last, you may stay. Tonight has been about a world that remembered its water, and about the slow, tender ways a planet keeps what it has loved. Tonight has been about Mars and its ancient rivers, and its sleeping ice, and its rust-red calm. Tonight has been about the pale caps breathing their slow twin breath, and the old delta at Jezero holding forever the shape of a vanished stream, and the great still mountain that stillness itself built, and the deep hushed canyon large enough to hold a sea, and the flat pale plains that remember an ocean in their very levelness. Tonight has been about a small blue star, low in a far red sky, and a small brave traveler rolling gently over an ancient shore, and the same star warming both worlds, and the same old water joining them, and the same slow turning carrying them both toward morning. Tonight has been about how a world can lose so much and keep the one deep thing, and how you too may set the whole day down and lose nothing that matters, and rest. You have been carried tonight, and you are carried still. You have been held tonight, and you are held still. You have been kept safe tonight, and you are kept safe still. You do not need to hold the day. You do not need to hold the worries. You do not need to hold anything at all. None of this needs anything from you tonight. The far red world does not need your watching. The ancient water does not need your keeping. The turning of the sky does not need your help, and the morning does not need your worry to arrive, for it is already on its way, already coming, carried to you gently by the same slow, faithful turning that carries everything, without the smallest effort of your own. And when you are ready, though there is no hurry, none at all, there is another peaceful exploration waiting on the screen, another slow and gentle journey to some far peaceful place, ready to begin softly on its own, and drift you onward through the dark, if you should wish it, so that you need not lift a hand or make a choice or do anything at all but rest, and let it begin on its own, and let it carry you the way this one has carried you, further and deeper into the calm. Let it come if it comes. Let it wait if you drift off first. Either way, you are held. What is the one small thing, I wonder, that your own body is quietly keeping safe tonight? The one tender treasure it holds close beneath the surface of your rest, the way the red world holds its water in the dark. You need not answer. You need not even wonder long. Let the question drift away like all the rest, softly, unanswered, into the deep, and let yourself sink after it, down and down into the warm, hushed center of the night. Feel now the slow tide of the breath, rising and falling, low and easy. Feel the weight of you settling into the soft ground of the bed, held and unburdened, carrying nothing. Feel the warmth pooling gentle in the belly and the chest, the loosening of the shoulders, the smoothing of the face, the deep low loosening of everything that held. Feel the water in you going peaceful, drawn down into its low, safe resting places, sleeping the way the water of Mars sleeps, kept safe through the long dark, waiting without worry for the light. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere left to go. There is only the breath, and the warmth, and the deep red calm, and the slow, sure turning carrying you gently down, into the hush, into the dark, into the long settled peace of sleep. Rest now. Let go now. Drift now, down into the soft and patient dark, held safe the whole way, needing nothing, keeping nothing, carried like the water of a resting world into the deep calm center of the night. Sleep well.